Hello there. So today we are on 2.2, so you have your 2.2 notes out. We're going to be looking at domain and range, and then being able to tell if something is a graph or function or not, if a graph is a function or not. So looking at this first example here, well actually let's go through the vocab here first. So the domain is the input values, the x values, that's also called the independent variable. It's what you're on the graph, it's your x, it's on the horizontal axis, it goes from left to right. The range is your output values, your y values, your dependent variable. That's the line that goes up and down on your graph. So we are going to be looking at these, looks like 5 examples down here at the bottom here. Example 2 says, determine whether the curve is a graph of a function, and if it is, state the domain and the range of it. So example A here, we're going to see if it's a function or not. I'm going to use the vertical line test. So I'm going to take a vertical line and I'm just going to put it through the graph in one place. And notice it only crosses the graph at one point. It crosses it right there. So, and I can keep doing vertical lines anywhere on the graph here, just randomly picking them. And notice it's only crossing a point at only one single point, not 2 points. So since it only crosses the graph at one point each time, it's considered a function. So yes, function. And so we can keep going through it. I'm going to go through and see if there are functions here first. So if I take a vertical line in part B here and I draw it, notice it goes through 2 points. So since it does, it's not a function. So not a function. And then letter C here. Now it's a curve in here, so it's not a flat line in there. So it's only going to go through one point there. And as I take it through, it's only hitting the graph in one place. So this here is a function. Looking there at example D there, is that a function or not? I can draw a horizontal line through here at any given point there. Notice it's only crossing the graph there at one point at any given time. So yes, it's a function. And then letter E here, I can take a vertical line here, and as I go through, I'm only crossing the graph in one place. And even if I graph it through here, it's going through this one, but this is an open dot and this is a closed dot. So since this is an open dot, it means it doesn't exist there. And there's a closed dot here and that exists there, so it's only one place. So this here is yes, it's a function. Now if there was a closed dot there, you'd say no, it's not a function, because there's a closed dot down here as well, and it'd make a vertical line that'd be going through 2 points. All right, so we determine whether a curve is a graph of function. If it's a function, so the ones that are function, now we got to state the domain and range. So this one here, domain and range. Now, I didn't quite draw these out completely there for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to finish the graph there so it's very evident what, and obvious what the ending points there are. If these here go on forever and ever, and if there's arrows at the end, any x values will work. I can put 0, positive values here, negative values here. It goes on here forever. So I'm going to say all real numbers. The range values, on the other hand, are a little bit different. The smallest range value is 0, and then they just get bigger as I go up and down here. So range, you want to kind of go left and right on your graph here, and with domain, you go up and down. So it starts here at 0, and then they just keep going up. So 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, but not down here. They're not negative. So you could say all positive real numbers, or you could say y here has to be greater than equal to 0, however you want to do that. But your output or your y values have to be greater than equal to 0. Or you could say all positive real numbers. Either way works. B is not a function, so we don't have to do the domain and range on this one. Domain, again, I abbreviate D. Range there, I'm going to abbreviate R. So now, looking at that graph, I'm actually going to put endpoints on these so we can do this a little bit differently this time. So my x value, going from left to right here on the graph, it looks like my farthest x point here is, this is -2, this is -1, so this is -1.5 it looks like. So between -1.5 and over here looks like 1.5. So x is in between. You put the smaller one here on the left and the bigger one here on the right. So it's less than or equal to 1.5 and greater than or equal to -1.5. Your range, on the other hand, starts up here at 4 and goes down here to -4. So I'm going to say my y value is in between -4 and 4. So notice I've got closed dots there at the end, so that indicates a start and a finish. Now let's go down here and let's look at letter D down here. And so looking at this one here, I'm going to actually put arrows here at the ends. So this one here is a function, so I got to identify the domain and range. So looking at the domain, that's your x values. Your x values over here can be negative, and your x values over here can be positive because they're going up here, and it could be 0 as well. So because that's true, I'm going to say all real numbers because there's arrows at the end. I'm going to abbreviate numbers. And then the range here, they can keep going down, so they keep getting negative here. Up here, they can keep getting positive, and it looks like we have a value of 0 there as well. So all real numbers. And then part E here, again, looking at domain and range because this is a function. And this time here, I'm going to, yeah, let's put arrows on the ends. We can do that again. So I keep going there. So the domain here, the top value for your, or actually keeps going over here to the left, so you can use, it starts here at -2 and keeps going over here to all your negatives, going on and on and on. Here it starts up here at a little bit larger than -2 here and keeps going over here, so it's all real numbers for your x values. But now let's look at your y values. Your y values here are only down here at -1 and only up here at 2. So my range here, I'm going to say y equals 2, and I'm going to say y equals -1, because there's actually only exactly 2 values for the y value in this case. So we stated whether or not they were functions, and then we went ahead and found the domain and range of those. So let's go on to our next ones over here, and I'm going to move this out here a little bit. All right, so actually we don't have any more. Going to look at your 2-2 worksheet. You can do 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, and then 55 through 60. If you could work on those, and if you got questions, make sure you ask. All right, over and out.